Yeah, so we're supposed to talk about Animal Farm chapter 1 through 4, and there were 3 discussion questions. Old major speech. What was the content? Anybody? Oh, yeah. I'm going to count the numbers that you're participating, and then if you participate more than 5 times, there is going to be 2 gold coins, and then if you participate 2 times and 1 gold coin. If you do not participate at all, I'm going to take 3 gold coins off from your plate. So everybody has to participate at least once, okay? Yeah? Yeah, so let's keep that in mind. Everybody has to participate at least once. And then try to participate more than 5 times, okay? So what was the old major speech about? Okay, Seoji, what was it about?
It was about the humans are taking all the influence and all the benefits out of animals and harassing them. So he wanted to rebel against humans, like dictators, sort of.
Yeah, so animals are the ones who are doing all the labor, all the job in production, and then humans are just like playing around, and then they take away all the harvest. So they need to rebel. Okay, and any other ideas? Yeah. Oh yes, Kyogi.
Reminding them how animals suffered over the centuries and like motivating them to rebel against humans.
Oh yeah, it was a very emotionally stirring speech reminding the animals of you guys comrades, you guys have suffered for centuries. It's finally time to rebel against the human and then overthrow their tyranny. Oh Yura. Oh, okay. Oh, I killed it, Yura. With your assistant, that was amazing. Yeah. Okay. And then, what did you guys think of this speech, Old Major speech? Yeah, Yura.
I think that he lived a very old time, and then so he knew about the animals' effort and how the people exploited them. So I think that he gave courage to the animal and gave an answer to the animals about the rebellion, about the thought to overthrow the people and start their own farm with.
Oh yeah, it was like especially inspiring because Old Major is really old, as the name says. So death is approaching. So there shouldn't be any self-interest invested into his speech because he knows that he's gonna die anytime soon. So he's not giving that speech for his personal gain or personal profit, right? And then he has been respected elder in the animal society, and then Old Major giving that emotional and inspiring speech moved the minds of the animal population, and then that's why they started the revolution. Okay, any other impressions? Oh yes, Hajin.
I think he did a really good job of both touching emotions and like approaching a logical way. Providing the reasons why they had to rebel logically, and he also like taught them the song "Piece of England" to like make them unify together.
Oh yeah, so like an effective speech that moves the minds of the crowd has to satisfy 2 criteria, I think. First, it has to be logical and it has to make sense. It needs to be based on evidence. Mosquitoes flying everywhere. Okay, so I'll try to grab it whenever I see it. Yeah. And then secondly, it has to be touching and moving, and then it has to move the mind and heart of the population. Yeah, and then it also teaches us the important role of culture. Here, it's symbolized by the song "Beast of England." So when culture is involved, people are more involved, more invested into the issue as if it was their own. Yeah, so Old Major's speech was very effective, and then it reflects some of the historical aspects of the Russian Revolution that is trying to exemplify. Yeah. So first of all, when Old Major talked about how the animals have been exploited over the centuries, it refers to how the Russian workers and then all the peasants under monarchy and king have been suffering and have been exploited. So the working class and peasants, they did all the work, but then they got almost no compensation for their labor. They were basically working like slaves. And then when Old Major told them about the self-sufficiency, how they need to own their own production, it reminds us of how Lenin and Trotsky, those ideologists, developed the Marxist ideology so that the working class could take control over the production, and if then, they can make a prosperous society. And then Old Major was calling for unity. First, inside this one farm, and then all the farms in all England. So he was basically calling for unity among all animals, such as the Russian Revolution wanted it to be an international revolution in the end. Yeah. But what was the result of a Russian Revolution? What did it bring eventually? Oh yeah, tyranny. And then we're going to talk about that at the end of the slides. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Boxer's mottos. Oh, what was Boxer's motto? Yeah.
Napoleon is always right. And,
Oh, Napoleon is
I will
always
work
right.
hard.
I will work harder. Yeah. So please share your thoughts about this character. Oh yes, Binsa.
I think that Napoleon is always right.
Oh.
Is blind faith.
Uh-huh.
Not anybody, not any animal,
Uh-huh.
or not always right.
Uh-huh.
And but he, 그러니까
Uh-huh.
Boxer believes that he's
Uh-huh.
always right when he is not. So I think he's trapped inside some blind faith.
Like dogma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he's-
orthodoxy. Yeah, so can a person, or like a person is also an animal, can a person be perfectly right all the time? That's impossible unless that being is like a deity, like a god. Yeah, so basically Boxer is worshipping Napoleon as some sort of god, and then has no critical thinking. He lets no possibility of critical thinking being developed at all. So the blind faith that Napoleon has, he is preventing any independent thinking from developed in Boxer's mind. Yeah. Any other opinions? Oh yes, Taeyeon.
Like I think the motto "I will work harder" is a little it could encourage Boxer more.
Uh-huh.
And Napoleon is always right is a little bit controversial motto
Uh-huh.
because as Minsa said before, no everybody can convict that somebody's words or saying is always correct.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. So in Boxer's life personally, like if he has that simple motto, he's always right. And then I'm gonna work harder. He's not going to have any internal struggles at all. And then his mental life would be very simple. But then just like deferring that judgment to someone else 100% takes away the human dignity. After all, these are not animals. They are the symbols of human beings and then the roles that each human being plays in society. Like, if you like defer that kind of judgment to somebody else like 100%, that takes away your human dignity, I think, after all. Okay, Sajin had his hand up the whole time. Okay, Sajin, what did you think about this one?
Oh.
No? It was just like
Step
scratching
away,
your
yeah,
neck?
but
Okay.
I can persist.
Okay, yeah, I'm really confused, but continue.
So, those two Boxer's mottos combined together would be like, I will work harder for no matter what
Mm-hmm.
opinion that Napoleon has.
Mm-hmm.
That is, so he's basically saying that no matter what idea or opinion that Napoleon comes up with, I will work hard for that
Uh-huh.
opinion, whether if it is right or wrong, because Napoleon is always right.
Oh yeah, so basically he's giving up the responsibility of a citizen. The responsibility of a citizen is to decide upon the correctness of the leader's direction and leader's opinion. And then if each citizen in the entire society does that, then the communal decisions can be made more wisely. But then he's just like giving that up entirely. And then if the society is completely comprised of individuals like Boxer, then the society is going to be swayed by the whims of the dictator, and then tyranny, and then the tyrants. Okay, yes, Yura.
I think Foster has a very tiring mind about I work harder.
Mm.
So no matter what, if he just works harder and keeps like tip
Oh.
himself, then he like the other animals, while the other animals are playing or being lazy, he will do all of the responsibilities for the animals to his work. So it will like tire Boxer, and at like some time of the story later on, I think that Boxer will die or will be sick because of all of the work that he did for the other animals.
Yeah, so the tragic end for Boxer's individual life would be being completely consumed by the system, completely consumed by the manipulation, and then dying worthlessly without leaving any legacy. And then in some way, I think Boxer can be called evil because like last year we learned the concept of commonality of evil. So can anybody like who tell me what is commonality of evil is? Yes, Yura?
Like even though you know that this is bad,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you do nothing and then you just be like be in the background and don't do anything.
So let me elaborate on that. So there was a Nazi official. His name was Eichmann. You remember that, right? And then he committed so many crimes that facilitated the killing of millions and millions of Jews. I mean, he didn't like directly kill the Jews and whatnot, but then he facilitated the railroad system and transportation of those innocent Jews. And then after the World War II, he was finally caught by the police. And then during the trials, Eichmann said, I just did my job. I was just a Nazi officer and I followed my order. What is wrong with that? And then if a person, even if the person is like completely moral and honest in his daily activities, if the person fails to think about the consequences of his action, then even an ordinary guy can be called evil. So Boxer, he's like admirable for his hard work, and then like his spirit of sacrifice for all the other animals, but then he fails to think and he fails to judge, and then he gives the judgment, he passes the judgment to other people or to the leader. I think that can be called evil as well. Okay. Yeah, so he is blindly obeying the authority, and that leads to exploitation and being completely consumed by the system. Yeah, so we have to be careful about that. We always have to keep our critical mind as sharp as possible. Okay, so how can taking the apples to themselves be an early sign of dictatorship? Yes, Yura?
I think that it is a lie that the pigs need the apple and milk to survive because like they want to eat the apples and milk for their breed. So like I think in the latter of the story, the pigs will become like the people, and they will like one day they will be the leaders of the farm, and they will just like they will just be lazy and they will be like people so that they can take control of the animals. And they will just make the animal labor, and then the animals will live the same life again with when the people was here.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, yeah, so the majority of the people are not participating, so feel free to look at your discussion paper for like 10 seconds. Oh, and then put it back, okay? Yeah? Oh, yes, Taeyeon, yeah?
I think the pigs are just showing up their authorities because now they're controlling the farm right now, and they're just saying to do something or to the animals, and they're giving signs, and some people might think that they're pigs, so they want to eat a lot, so they will eat. They said they need apples and milk, but I think that the pigs are just want to show that they're the down in the
Oh, okay, they're doing that out of the greed. Yeah, that was nice. And then it's like a sign of authority that they want to establish for the rest of the crowd. Okay, and Sumi, yeah, what was your idea?
I think the kids are using the authority on the farm to their own benefit because they eat all the apples and milk which was produced on the farm. So they just use their authority in the farm for their
Oh, God. And then like some leaders like that, they make up excuses about why this has to be done this like way, but then it's all basically for their personal benefit, okay? Oh, yes. Pyogi, and then Jimin, and then Sunjin. Okay, Kim Pyogi, what did you think about this part? Pyogi Kim.
If we look back on Old Major's speech, he said that humans take away what the animals produce. But if we look at the pigs right now, they took away the milk produced from cows and keep it to themselves. So I think this is an early sign of corruption.
Oh, okay. So Old Major in the original speech of Old Major, he said that if we overthrow the humans, we are going to establish a very equal and prosperous society where all of us would be equal, you know. But then with the humans gone, the pigs replaced that position of exploiters. Yeah, so it's human, maybe it's human dark instinct. When the oppressors are gone, the people who are being oppressed would be like divided among themselves and then build another set of hierarchy. Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh, yes, Jimmy.
The pigs can keep milk and apple for themselves because they are the plants and they're the grainers.
Oh.
I think there is a problem of the way they convince other animals because Scalar said that pigs and apples have that needs for pig survival, but then he didn't show any, and he said it is proved by science, but he didn't show any evidence, and he keeps talking about Jones coming back, and I think that's only pigs mean methods to use animals' anger to convince animals.
Oh, okay, so there are several strategies of crowd control, and there are several tools of manipulation and like manipulating and brainwashing the minds of the animals. First of all, coming up with scientific evidence, and then like manipulating the results and manipulating the evidence when the real facts are not so. And then what could be other like tactics of manipulation that you guys saw throughout the book? Like how do they control the mind of the animal?
They rewrote the rules on the wall.
Oh,
Secretly.
oh yeah, they wrote down the commandments. They like secretly change it over and over. And how? Yeah. Oh yes, Binzo.
The pigs use squealer, small pig, to convince everybody with realistic explanation, and everybody believed it.
Oh yeah, so Squealer's job is basically spreading fake news and then telling it as realistically as possible. And then we have some news outlets that are doing that in the modern time as well. If we have the pictures and the videos and then with some subtitles, then it looks really real, right? So Squealer is doing that, telling that over and over, and then the animals are at first very, very confused. Yeah, did that happen? And then they end up believing as truth, right? Oh, okay, yeah. 그리고 또 누구였지? 서진. 서진, what was your idea?
I think this might have been the first indication of dictatorship or to Napoleon to also dictating because they are taking privilege for like themselves and restricting all the other animals to like for using that benefit.
Yeah, so it's like oh yeah, continue. That's it?
I came up with that other.
Oh yeah, try to think about it and then.
Maybe
Oh yeah, you can bring it on later. Yeah. So like when you want to participate, it doesn't have to be related with the flow. You could like totally bring up a new topic. Like you could totally bring up a new thread of thought. It doesn't matter. So like look at your discussion paper, but not read it, but then like try to bring up new ideas. Yes, Pyogi.
This might be kind of off topic, but
It's okay. Yeah.
when you look at Squealer, banning the tune Beast of England, by saying he is just erasing anything that might cause revolution again to them. So they're probably protecting their.
Oh yeah, I know, right? So a lot of like dictator governments, what they do many times, they try to suppress culture, whether it be song, whether it be movie or novel, literature and whatnot, that might contain like rebellious ideas against its existence, and that's why the Beast of England, it contains a rebellious spirit, has been completely banned. And then that reminds me of the recent event in literature. So who won the Nobel Prize for Literature recently? Oh, Han, yeah. And that, oh yeah, so one of her book was banned. It's like a bad book. So like it was like it was on like blacklist. So it couldn't be distributed in libraries and like schools and like in the military. Like it was considered a bad book by the government. And then like the idea was about like a rebellion that happened like 40 years ago in Korea, right? So the government, like when it's trying to hide some facts, it hides culture, and then it bans the anthem of the rebellion, the Beast of England, and that shows a lot. When there is an authority that's trying to like control culture, it's like a sign of dictatorship, right? Okay, any ideas? Oh yes, Jugyong.
Like pigs were kind of seen as a greedy character in many other things. Like it has a never-ending greediness and always eats. So I think the character seems like that, and it also has a similarity with the humans because it has the highest IQ and it's the cleverest. So I think eventually the pigs will like have the same end as the humans.
As the human, that's a very like deep analysis of the literary symbols. So pigs are known for their appetite. Pigs are always hungry, like they want more and more, and their appetite is insatiable. They cannot satisfy the pigs completely. So just like the pigs, those leaders, they are always hungry for power, more and more power, and they're never satisfied. And then they are going to somehow replace the humans because the pigs are known to be animals with very high intelligence, right? That was yes, Yona. Yeah.
I kind of thought about George Orwell's another book, 1984.
Oh yeah.
As well when I read this, because like in 1984 it was like trapped in a place and every actions they do are watched by the Big Brother. And in Animal Farm, like it's kind of watched by Squiller and other pigs as well. So maybe it's trapped as well, and the like what should I say? Like the news is kind of manipulated as well in the 1984.
Yeah.
So I think like Napoleon was kind of similar to Big Brother as well. Like the
ruler that cannot be denied
Mm.
by anyone,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone should believe in him like God.
Mm.
So I think it's kind of similar.
Oh yeah, I also spotted a lot of parallels between 1984 and this Animal Farm. So like in 1984, this country, I don't remember the name of the country, but then they constantly changed the history, right? Our country's biggest enemy is Eurasia. And then like next day, no, it was East Asia, Eurasia, East Asia. So what happens in the Animal Farm? Anybody? Oh yes, Yura.
So there was like 7 comments, like something, the rules for the animals, and then the first is that the pigs shouldn't sleep in the beds. And the other day is that they shouldn't put sheets in it and sleep in it.
Yeah, they constantly like change the rules, and then like weren't there? Oh yes, Jimin.
So they keep changing
Oh.
where Snowbird is hiding.
Oh
And
yeah.
Pink Bill and Foxes.
Uh-huh.
And he keeps changing.
Oh yeah. So there are 2 humans that Napoleon trades with, whether it be timber or like necessary items. Like one day it's this guy that they're fighting against, and then one day it's the other guy, and then the explanation for that is Snowball is hiding there tonight, and the Snowball is moving his shelter to that place, and then constantly changing them. We don't really know what happened to Snowball. He's getting all the blame.
누가 죄인인가?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then so like beautiful and ideal, beautiful and those noble revolutionary ideals, they sound wonderful when they're written in the book, when they're written in the brochures and pamphlets of the revolutionary minds. But then when they're applied to the real life, why are they distorted, and then why are they tarnished? Do you guys have any ideas for that? Oh yes, Sojin?
I think it's mostly because of human nature of
Mhm.
trying to get as most privileges or benefits for
Mhm.
themselves as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and they all the humans who led the revolution
Mhm.
and took over the power
Mhm.
would soon begin to
Mm-hmm.
feel greedy or
Mhm.
feel starting to feel that they are above all the others and they have to be treated better than others. So
Yeah.
they start to misuse or
Oh yeah, definitely. Any other ideas? Yeah, I think the revolutionary ideals misunderstood the basic human nature. They believed in the goodness of human beings too much. Basically, all humans are self-interested and selfish. And then the best system to take advantage of that is the current system that we have, capitalism. Although it has its flaws, it's not perfect, but then it motivates and drives human beings based on their self-interest, and it's run very efficiently. I think it distributes the resources in a very efficient way. Thanks for catching the mosquitoes. Thank you. Oh, you didn't catch it? Okay. Yeah, so the basic humanist didn't really understand that. And then there is this famous saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. 권력은 부패하게 되어 있고, 두 번째는 무슨 뜻인 것 같아? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. What does that mean, everybody? 절대적인 권력은 절대적으로 부패한다, right? Yeah, and then when they developed the revolutionary system, they didn't really invent a device that could control the greed of the leaders, because no leader can be perfect, no leader can be God who completely restrains his self-interest and selfish motivations, right? So I think they basically misunderstood the human nature. That's why the revolutionary ideas were corrupted and then distorted. Yeah. So once the revolutionaries, they consolidate power and have things under control, they start prioritizing their welfare over the common welfare. Like the pigs started taking the apples and then the milk, and then they start justifying themselves. We are the people who use most brain, and that we need those items reserved for us. And then the problem with that is that they actually believe in it. They believe in their logic, and they actually believe in the justification that they're making. Yeah, so no one is free from this justification and biases. No human being is free from prejudices and biases. So we cannot create another revolutionary system just based on incomplete human beings, and we need a system that checks and balances the greed of the leaders. Yes, Sojin?
Just a random thought, but I think the reason why George Orwell choose like farm over any like environments that animals lives in is probably because like those farm animals or rather domesticated animals they rely on human handling, and they have image of being very innocent. So this might have been maybe the environment might have been chosen as a farm, not just because the humans take control over it and they should like revolution over humans, but also because they have the image of very like obedient and innocent.
Oh yeah. So like under monarchy, under aristocracy, the human beings were trapped in the hierarchy, and then farm is the best place to represent that image. Yeah, represent that theme. Okay, yeah. Also like the reason, so are the animals like realizing that Napoleon is a bad leader or not? Or are they like completely unaware? What do you think?
I think they're completely unaware.
Are they? So do you think animals are completely unaware of the evil that Napoleon is committing? Or do you think some animals are aware of it? What do you think? Like some animals, like completely unaware. Like some of them are aware. Okay, there are, like in the beginning they were unaware, but then there are signs of awareness. Can you give me examples of that? Yes, Pyogi.
If you look at Napoleon executing all like the majority of the animals ruthlessly, and we can see that some animals took some 의문이 뭐죠?
Oh, they started questioning.
They started questioning about the policies of Napoleon.
Oh yeah, and then like animals, they don't really have good communication ability, so they couldn't really form that into words. But what did they do in response to that brutality? They sang, they sang the song Beasts of England. So some animals are starting to feel aware of the situation, or aware of the evil, but then the reason why they cannot start rebellion is because of fear, right? So when the authoritarian government completely controls over the populace and then rules with fear and iron, then the possibility of rebellion dramatically reduces, because like even inside they betray each other, and then if they get caught, they know that they're going to be ruthlessly killed, not only themselves but then their entire family. That's what's happening in North Korea. I think that most of the North Koreans know that the Kim government is wrong, but then they're not doing the uprising because of the fear, I think. Yes, Sojin?
I think it's an example of that is portrayed well in the case of like 9 hen.
Oh yeah.
Against Napoleon and found dead next day. So.
Oh yeah, and then they wanted to like I don't know the reason why the hens wanted to hold on to the eggs. Was it because like they wanted to have babies? I don't exactly remember. But then Napoleon was like ordering them to produce like 900 eggs and in exchange for the necessary item. That was very cruel. Okay, yeah. So this is the novel discussion for today. 이게 지금 발표 못했으면